And didn't work harder.
Today, we are talking about lesson 54, dividing by multiples of 10. First of all, what are multiples of 10? Y'all just rattle them off.
31.
Yes. Okay, so today we are focusing on dividing by multiples of 10. Before we start, do not forget your steps for long division. First, we divide. Then you're using multiplication to figure out what to subtract. After you check to make sure you did the right step, then you bring down the next digit. And you continue in that process until you're completely done with all of the division. Okay? So let's look at this example. It says the staff arranged 454 chairs in the school gym. That's a lot of chairs. Each row of the arrangement contained 30 chairs, except for the last row. Why do you think the last row didn't have 30 chairs?
Because there's not an even number.
Because there's not an even number, okay? So we want to figure out how many complete rows of chairs are in the arrangement. And then how many chairs are in the last row. So I want you to get your whiteboards out for just a minute, and I want you to try. Now think, remember, we're dividing by multiples of 10. So how could you solve this by dividing by a multiple of 10? Okay. Some of you are still working this out, which is totally fine. Say that again, Carter.
14 chairs.
We're going to talk about it. Keep that.
454. That's going to be too hard. No. Well, that's too bad, because it's... Okay, got it. What? I already got it before you. Cool, Carter. Good for you. Good for you.
Okay.
You want a cookie?
First thing, if you are still working, that's fine. But what I want you to look at and think about is, okay, I know I'm dividing by a two-digit number. That's not something that we do a whole lot of. But when it's multiples of 10, it's not super difficult for us to think a little differently. You just have to figure out how to look at these numbers and play with them. Okay, I know 30 can't go into 4. So if I'm looking at 45, how many times could 30 go into 45? It goes in one time. Okay, and now here's where my multiplication part comes in. It's the 30 times the 1. So what's 30 times 1?
30.
30. So I'm going to subtract 30 from 45, and I'm left with 15. Okay, once I check over that, yes, I did it right. I know I multiplied the right thing. I subtracted. Everything is good. Then I bring down, and now I divide the next part. So 30 goes into 154. Well, let's think about this for a minute. Okay, if I were to cover up this 4, and I look at this as just a 15, and I were to cover up this 0. This is the cool thing about division. You can almost like hide the second part of the number. So if I were to cover up this 0 and then cover up this 4, how many times can 3 go into 15? 5 times. So I'm going to try 30 times 5 and see what I get. What is 30 times 5?
150.
150. Guys, we've practiced multiplying numbers by powers of 10. You just multiply, then tack the 0 on at the end, right? Okay, so we know that 3 times, hang on just one second. We know 3 times 15, hold on. 3 times 5 is 15. So if I did 30 times 5, that's going to be 150. Okay, the next part, since I multiplied that, is to subtract. I have nothing to bring down, so this is what I'm going to have here. I'm stuck with 15 chairs with 4 left over. So how many complete rows of chairs are in the arrangement? If you said 15, you were right. 15 complete rows. And then how many people are sitting all by themselves on the last row? Just 4, those poor 4 lonely folks.
Me too.
Okay, let's look at another one. Mr. Gibson has a small grove. Do you know what a grove is?
Yeah, it's a sort of tree.
Yeah, it's like a thing of trees. Yeah, it's like a farm, kind of, sort of. Like you just have a whole bunch of rows of trees. So Mr. Gibson has a small one of 18 young orange trees that produced 782 pounds of oranges this year. Estimate. That's a key word. Estimate. Am I looking for the exact amount? No. I'm going to estimate the average number of pounds of oranges produced by each tree. So if I have 782 pounds, okay, I want to divide by a number that is a lot easier to divide by than 18. What'd you say? Yeah, bingo. I'm going to divide by 20. Okay, power of 10. That's what this whole lesson is about. So when you have these questions, think of powers of 10. Okay, so how many times can 20 go into, I know it can't go into 7, so I'm going to bump over and look at 78. What would I put there? 3. What is 20 times 3? 60. So I'm going to subtract 60. And I'm left with 18. And then you bring down. So now my 18's turned into 182. So what I want to do, hang on just a second, yes. Hang on just a second with your answers. I want you working it with me. How many times can 20 go into 182? Again, you can use your trick where you cover up this 0, take it away for a minute, and see how many times can 2 go into 18. About how many times can 2 go into 18? 9 times, right? So if I tried 20 times 9, that would be 180. Okay, just like our trick before, I take away that 0, just multiply 2 times 9, that's 18, then put it back on. So I'm going to subtract 180, and I have 2 left over. So if I'm estimating the average number of pounds of oranges produced by each tree, I could say about what? About 40 pounds, about 39. Is there anything wrong with saying about 39 pounds? No. There's nothing wrong with saying about 39 because why? I've already rounded. I rounded this number, remember? So we could say about 39. You could take it one step further and say about 40. If you just like really pretty numbers that don't end like 39, you want to just bump it up to a power of 10, that's fine. 40 would be okay too. How are we feeling so far? Okay, another one. Taryn bought 20 bread rolls for 20 bread rolls. I want to be Taryn because I would love to have 20 bread rolls right now. Yeah. For $4.60, especially for $4.60. I would love to only spend $4.60 for 20 rolls. What was the cost of each roll? So I'm going to take, how would I set this up first of all? How would I set this up?
20 divided by.
Okay, so y'all said 20 divided by 460. That's what this looks like. Is that what you meant?
No.
Okay, so how do I set it up?
Like this?
How do you read that?
20 divided by 40.
What you're telling me is 20 divided by 460. Yes. I want 460 divided by, I'm dividing it into 20 groups. So you have to remember how to set it up. I know you guys know what goes where, but you've got to understand how it's dividing. I have a smaller amount divided by a bigger number. It's possible you can do that. Okay, I've got $4.60 divided by 20 bread rolls. So pop that decimal up. I just want to get rid of it. So I'm going to pop it up and not even think about it anymore. 20 can't go into 4, but it can go into 46 how many times?
Twice.
2 whole times, because what is 20 times 2? 40. Here's that multiplication part of our burger, right? Now I subtract. You guys are all showing me, yes, good stuff. Bring down. Yes, I saw yours. Yours is good. Now, 20 goes into 60? Exactly 3 times, and I have nothing left over. So, how do you write your answer? Do I write 0.23? No. What are you going to put? You're going to put a $sign and 23 cents, or the cent sign is okay too. Okay, how do we feel? Good. Do I need to make up another problem before you start? No. You've got about 30 minutes. That's a good amount of time. Do y'all feel good to start? Okay, your assignment starts on 376 for lesson 54. As soon as you get your paper, you can begin.